I'm Dan, I'm from Platinum Blonde, and this is my workbench. But I'm here to tell you all about these pads right here, which are the Dauz pads. I've been using them now live for the last 7 years with Platinum Blonde, and they're the greatest pads I've ever used in my life. Back when I was about 16 years old, I remember working in a music store in Kitchener-Waterloo where I grew up, and they had the Dauz pads on drum kits back then, and this had been back in the 80s. And I remember the size of them, I remember the feel of them. They weren't like hitting a table, they were actually like the feel of hitting a real drum. So I really liked, I liked that whole vibe. It was exactly what I needed as far as the feel. I don't have to worry about my joints getting sore and anything like this. Now, one of the things that I appreciate about them as well is the size of them. Being small, I can utilize them this way by getting them tucked into little areas. We've seen other drummers do the same thing. We've seen Neil Peart tuck one in over by his snare drum. But in my situation, with having to use three drum pad sounds, those Simmons do sounds, I've got them right up front here. And for visually, people being able to see it. I've tried many other sample modules before, different units that would have several pads on them. It just wasn't practical for me to use in a live situation. It was more practical to use individual pads that I can place where I want them. And that's what's been able to work for me. It never fails when I'm on the road. I'll get messages on Facebook. Tell me about these pads that you're using. What do they do, you know? And I explain, you know, I'll get back to absolutely everybody that I can. They are the Dauz pads. They are triggers. A lot of common questions are, what sound does this one make? What sound does this one make? They're triggers. They're going to make the sounds that I give them. And as far as that is concerned, I've gone from trying using several different modules on my kit live. At one time I was having 6 different modules do different things, and it just got to be too much of a pain to have so many DIs live. So now what I'm doing is I've got everything down here, if you can just see up here, to this one unit called a sample rack. The nice thing about the sample rack is I can put every one of the sounds all into this one unit. I can label the song and patch into the next song, the next song, the next song, and it's ready to go. The nice thing about it is I can run it on the fly, but again, you need a great trigger to do this properly. About 7 years ago when I got in touch with Dan Dauz, it was really interesting how I contacted him. I said, my name is Dan Todd, I'm from the band Platinum Blonde. Are you the gentleman that makes the Dauz pads? And he got back to me and he says, I am the guy. So we instantly got connected. It was great. I was telling him what I wanted to do, and when I asked a few questions about the pads, they were absolutely going to cover every different realm of what I needed them to cover. So as far as dealing with Dan on all of this, I have never ever had a problem. He's been the perfect rep I've ever had to deal with. He's a personable guy. He's always treated me with the most respect, and I love him to death. So Dan Dauz, here's for you. Cheers, brother.